Okay, questions, guys?
Stick, do you have separate plans for bad weather and good weather, or do you just have a plan A that you think you can implement, whether it's warm, wet, cold, whatever tomorrow?
I think according to what we've got from our management, it's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a dry day, but once again we had an extra week in Jersey, where we can prepare and acclimatize nicely with the conditions, and remember the first training session was very, very wet and cold. So I don't think the weather conditions will change how we want to play the game. We are well prepared, but we also know on the other side also Scotland, they will try to stop us from implementing our plan, and it's always tough to play them at home. But once again, I don't think the conditions will really make a difference in how we wanna play the game.
Eben, you got to have a good look at Scotland during the World Cup, and obviously that was the Springboks day that day. Do you expect Scotland to throw anything different at you to what you saw in Marseille?
Yeah, look, we know Scotland is a good team. They've had a couple of good results in the Six Nations as well. Their teams in the URC is doing quite well, so we know they keep on improving every year and becoming a better team. We know we certainly can't take them lightly, and we prepare fully against them, and we know it's going to be a massive challenge for us in all areas. Obviously the kicking game will be a big challenge, obviously with the rules changing a bit. We always know their forwards will be up for it. They always have good plans come line-out time, come scrum time, and there's also a few South Africans in there that will try and give them some insight into our camp as well. So it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Scotland have picked off some big results in recent years, but there's a feeling here that they maybe struggle to take the next step to compete with the likes of yourselves and the All Blacks and Ireland. In your eyes, what do you see that Scotland need to do to really compete at that top end of Test rugby?
Yeah, if that's the feeling over here, I wouldn't know. It's certainly not the feeling from our camp. We consider them as one of the top nations in World Rugby, and we see them as an island or New Zealand or Australia or England who we play against. So they're right up there for us, and it's going to be a physical test match, and one we're obviously looking forward to. I think Murrayfield is an incredible place to play rugby. Personally, probably one of my favourites in the world. I love coming here, playing here. Scottish people are nice, but we know their team will never be nice with us on the field because that's a test match, and they will try to get one on us. So now we're all excited for the challenge that lies ahead.
But this is possibly the strongest bench in the history of World Rugby. As a captain who's on the field from the start, how reassuring is it to know that you've got such quality to come and help you out of a spot if you are a few points behind? Yeah,
on paper, obviously, it's a good bench, but we always say in this team, games are never won on paper. You can't really do anything until the game starts. So we will see once they come on. I don't know when, but once they do come on, do they make a difference? And the guys on the bench now, it won't just happen. Obviously, Scotland's also got a quality bench that they would also like to come on and make a difference. So yeah, we expecting our guys to come on and make a difference. But yeah, it's up to them to take that into reality tomorrow and bring what they can to the field.
What's the dynamic between you and Sia? If Sia comes on, does he take over all the leadership responsibility, or are you still the captain, still very much in charge on the field?
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll still discuss that one. But to be fair, it doesn't really matter. I think me and Sia has always worked together on and off the field very nicely. It's probably the one who just speaks to the ref a bit more. But in the decisions, we always try to come together and try and make a decision together. So it won't really change much whether I'm staying captain when he comes on or if it changes that he's captain.
Coach, with all the chat about the 7-1 and the great bench and so on, I mean, how do you think the last sort of 5-10 minutes is where this game could be decisive?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. Like I mentioned earlier on, it's always tough to play against Scotland at Murrayfield. But I think for us, the focus is not only on the last 20 minutes or last 10 minutes of the game. We want to start well. We want to make sure that we implement our plan and make sure that we execute it. And Scotland also, they've got their own plan on the other side. We know how they play. They want to keep the ball in hand, so they'll probably want to speed up things. So I don't think we're going to wait until the last 10 minutes for us to make a difference in the game. If we can win the game from the first, probably 20 minutes, I think the team that will start well will probably have a chance to keep that momentum. We don't want to wait for the last probably minutes of the game, you know. And like I said again, if we go with the mindset where you're not going to pitch up against them, you've got Phil Russell on the other side, you've got Duan, you've got those guys at the back, Tuipolo, to those world-class players with the X factor. So you give them, you switch off against them, they will punish you. And like Eben touched on it again, they've got a coaching staff that is very, very creative about how they go about with their plans. So if you're not really going to be mentally up for the game, you're going to get punished. In all my experience against them when we played Murrayfield, if you remember even the last game we played against them, yeah, it was a hustle in the first half. It was always going to be tough, you know. So hopefully we can start well, but otherwise I think, like Eben said, from 1 to 23, everyone has got a role to play. I think those guys also that are starting, it will be nice for also to have a massive impact in the game.
Given the quality of Scotland's backs, I know you guys have great backs as well, but just given that that's probably general consensus where really their strength is, I mean, how important do you think it is to sort of put a squeeze on them up front from anything?
Yeah, it's, I think in a rugby game, everything starts by the forwards besides probably the kickoff. I think the liners will always start when the hooker throws the ball in, which is forward, and obviously the scrum is a set piece at the forward start. So most of the matches these days probably gets won or lost up front with the forwards, and we know we've got a big responsibility, and I also think that's why Coach Rossi's selected the 7-1-1 split, because we've got respect for Scotland, and we see them as a good team, a good back of forwards, and we know we're going to have to be at our best to beat them. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's definitely going to come down to a great forward battle, and then obviously the backs can have some fun out wide. Both the backs, they have got a bit more space.
Even just going back to 7-1, but you know, I was chatting to Rassi the other day about it, and the fact that a lot of the guys on the bench are usually starters, your Pieter-Stephs, your Sears. How do you think that dynamic's going to change for them now, operating in a different role within that bomb squad? And then also for the guys on the field, is there an acceptance on a weekend like this that if you're not doing your thing, you know, there's every chance that you could come off even a first half substitution if you're not up to kind of standards? Is that always the case, or is it even more so now given the quality that is on the bench?
I think that's always the case. I think if the coaching staff in the box sees you're not really productive on the field anymore, you can get subbed after 10 minutes if you're really not doing your job anymore. So that's always been there. That will never change. I don't think it will be a bigger highlight this weekend because of the quality we've got on the bench. And then guys like Pieter-Steph and Sian, those guys are not always on the bench, but there's a very experienced guy in Vincent Koch and Erge Snyman and Malcolm who makes the whole bench bomb squad thing a big thing, and then they'll welcome those guys in, and they're excited to have quality players with them on the bench, but also a big role for the guys starting. I think there's also some guys who doesn't always start all the test matches, so it's a good opportunity for them to show what they can do when starting against a quality side.
I mean, Pieter-Steph, 80-minute engine, how many times, start to finish? I mean, is there a chance that there could be even more of an impact now from a guy like that, given that when he comes on?
Eben Etzebeth, Ebi, net gou iets in Afrikaans oor die week en toets asseblief.
Ja, hallo allemaal. Ik denk het was een goede week voor ons. Obviously, was een beetje in Jersey geweest op een oefenkamp, zoals al een beetje vroeg in Europa. Een goede oefenweek, vol week gehad. Obviously, ons is niet altijd gewoon dan op een zondag game spelen. Zoals we lekker lang week gehad voor voorbereiding. Maar ik denk dat het goed gegaan. Weer het ons mooi hanteer. Baie opgewonden voor de wedstrijd. Ons weet Skotland sal 'n goeie uitdaging wees vir ons. Soos wat hulle was laas jaar by die Wêreldbeker ook. Hulle is altyd 'n great span hier in Murrayfield en het altyd goeie resultate hierso. So ja, so wedstryd waarna ons baie uitsien.
I think the past 2 weeks, past 2 weeks, basically, sebenze kahle kakhulu siliqela sifumene la opportunity sikwazi upreparation apha eJersey. It was a tough week for i-players zethu, but kodwa ke ngabe sinida and but sayivula nje sikwazi nokho i-conditions alapha siqhele ukukhumbula xa udlala ke Northern Hemisphere i-weather iba different compared to le siqhelile eMzantsi Afrika, so sikwazile ke noko ufumana ithuba sikwazi uzilolonga kahle. Scotland izaba liqela elinzima kakhulu, siyazi kunzima xa udlala ngokwabo nabo, kodwa ke I think sizabe sipreparishe kahle iqela lethu. Siyabaza ukuba neqela bane-players ezi-good phakuba bafana no-Duan phaa ngasemva, ukhumbule mfana strong uTupolo captain wabo wethu Finn Russell, siyabazi fangabo baneke opportunity baza kupanisha. So yeah, zaba ngumdlalo onzima kakhulu but kodwa ke sizilungiselele kahle iqela lethu and I think soba ready for most.